Monta is an American independent brand that's garnered a reputation for making high quality Swiss made watches at reasonable prices. It's not uncommon to hear phrases such as the king of micro brands associated with Monta. I've been wanting to review a watch of theirs for a while to test this claim for myself. And I don't know if I can confer any royal titles on them, but man, I'm certainly impressed, because this Skyquest might be the best sub $3,000 GMT I've ever reviewed. I want to start off by thanking Monta for lending me this review unit for the video. That said, the opinions in this video are completely my own and based on merit. Usually when reviewing a watch, I find something missing which prevents it from checking all the boxes, whether it be a weird design choice, a mediocre movement, or lack of on-the-fly micro-adjust. But this watch refreshingly has no glaring drawbacks or missing features. It's like the Swiss Army knife of watches. But nothing in life is perfect. Other than my fiancée, of course. And this watch does have some small flaws that I'll talk about towards the end. Let's start off with the positives. The watch has dimensions that would be suitable for most wrists, with a case diameter of 40.7mm, that's 11.8mm thick, and has a lug-to-lug length of 47.4mm. For comparison, the Rolex GMT Master 2 has a case that's 40mm by 12mm, with a lug-to-lug of 48mm. These dimensions give the Skyquest a decent presence on the wrist without appearing too large or too small. I think the watch is designed beautifully. The 316L stainless steel case has brushed lugs and polished sides with a subtle bevel along the lugs. A matte black dial with thick hour markers and prominent hands makes the face super legible. A date window at the 6 o'clock is framed in gold, a theme that's carried over to the bezel. This navy blue and red Pepsi style bezel with the gilt accent gives the watch a rich, warm look that I enjoy. If you've watched my videos, you know I'm a fan of gold accents on watches. Some would say it's a guilty pleasure. Sorry, please don't hit dislike. But I can't lie. I like how the gold on the bezel gives it a different tone, looking especially good under warm light. Now I know some people favored the first version of the Skyquest with a slimmer bezel, but I prefer the thicker bezel insert. Something about it makes the watch feel more balanced to me. I don't know, maybe I'm just tripping. You tell me, do you like the old bezel or the new one? And if you were wondering, the bezel is not made of ceramic, but aluminium. And yes, dear Americans, we love you, but it's aluminium, not aluminum. To be honest, I like aluminium bezels a lot. While they may not be as durable as ceramic, I think they show colors better and also have a subtle matte texture compared to the flat, shiny ceramic bezel inlays. While ceramic bezels always remain crisp and new looking, aluminium bezels gradually show patina and, sorry for the cliche, add character to a watch. Lastly, these bezels are also more economical to produce with a lower failure rate. Just look at the Rolex Pepsi disaster. So in some cases, like the Monta, I even prefer having an aluminium bezel over a ceramic one. I'm curious to know what's your take on the aluminium versus ceramic debate. Would you rather have a scratch-proof yet more expensive ceramic bezel in favor of an aluminium bezel? Or do you think ceramic bezels are worth the hype? Let me know. The red arrow-tipped hand on the dial points to the second time zone. That's because the Skyquest is a GMT. A collar GMT to be specific. This means that the GMT hand can be set independently and is meant to track the time in another location. The primary hour hand points to your local time and cannot be set without changing the minutes on the watch. The Rolex and the Tudor Blackbay 58 GMT on the other hand are flyer or true GMTs. On these, the GMT hand needs to be set with the minute hand, while the primary hour hand can be set independently. On these watches, the main hour hand tracks your current time zone when you travel, while the GMT hand is meant to track your home time. Historically, true GMT movements have been more expensive and exclusive, and therefore more desirable. It's funny how our silly lizard brains work. But to me, the collar GMT in the Monta is a feature, not a bug. I have family living abroad, and the collar GMT lets me track their time. If given a choice, which movement would you take and why? Let me know in the comments. Now the movement enabling this is the automatic Monta Caliber M23, which is essentially a modified Sellita 330-1 that can be seen through the open case back. This is a 4Hz movement with a power reserve of 56 hours. While Monta don't advertise the accuracy, I found this watch running well within COSC standards. As you can see, the movement is pretty simple looking, devoid of any decoration. I think that's a miss, to be honest. What's not a miss is the bracelet. This 3-link oyster-style bracelet is thin but feels robust and well made. Monta claimed that this is the most comfortable watch bracelet. Okay, so that may be a slight exaggeration, but don't get me wrong, the Monta bracelet truly is comfortable. It's right on par with the Tudor bracelets in terms of comfort. In fact, I think it might be the most comfortable bracelet in its price segment. The links conform to the wrist nicely and there is no hair pulling. Trust me, I have hairy arms. But I know that comfort is subjective, so it's hard to quantify it. But worry not, I've developed a highly rigorous and scientific test to measure this hard to measure criteria. The sleep test. Basically, I sleep with the watch on. If I sleep through the night without any discomfort, a watch bracelet can be deemed comfortable. And the Skyquest bracelet passed my highly comprehensive science-backed test with flying colors. The bracelet comes with on-the-fly micro adjust, thank God, with 3 adjustment slots to account for any wrist swelling during the day, as well as 2 half links to help find the right fit. Naturally, this bracelet will be perfectly wearable for just about anyone, except that one person who goes to a 3 Michelin star restaurant and still finds flaws with the service. Good luck to you, sir. But for the rest of us, this bracelet is gonna work just great. Despite being a GMT, the Skyquest could also serve as a capable dive watch. With a solid 300 meters of water resistance and a screwed down crown, you should feel no hesitation taking the watch on your underwater adventure. By underwater adventure, I mean under tap water, of course. The overall finishing on the watch is solid too. The watch feels premium in the hand and on the wrist. It's got a decent presence and feels substantial without being heavy. The gilt-enhanced Pepsi design looks great and the watch can be worn practically anywhere. Here I am enjoying the Monta on the mountain side. Again, please don't dislike. I promise I'll change. At $2,400 and some change, the Skyquest isn't cheap, but it offers a complete package that's hard to beat. I can't think of any other GMT around this price point that offers so much. But as I said, the watch has a few drawbacks. Let's talk about them. First, that the clasp is a little too large, measuring 40mm. For reference, the clasp on the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT is 32 to 33mm. Essentially, this clasp is 25% larger than the Tudors. And yeah, the Tudor T-Fit clasp offers even more micro adjust. I'm not a mechanical engineer, but I feel that Monta could have slimmed down the clasp a little. While the clasp won't bother most people, folks like me with smaller wrists will feel the large clasp more prominently. Talking about skinny wrists, I also find the size of the watch a little large. Before you start typing rage comments about how this is my problem, let me say yes, I totally agree. The size is a slight inconvenience for me and my 6-inch wrist. In my subjective opinion, the watch should have been sized at 38mm with a sub 46mm lug-to-lug length. That would have made it more universally wearable. My last criticism is the somewhat dull looking movement. The M3 movement in the Skyquest looks fine, but that's the problem. It looks just fine, not great. Again, this is a subjective take, but if you're including an open case back, why not decorate the movement a little more? It's like having a plain cheese pizza. Sure, it's functional, but it could use some extra toppings. Alright, before we conclude, let's hear my fiance's take on the watch. Oh, this is another Coke. What? You're telling me this is blue, not black? Okay, I see. It is actually blue. I like the gold and matte colors. Oh, and I like that the movement is visible. Okay, so you can clearly tell how interested she is in watches. It's for the better, I suppose. A household with 2 watch fanatics would have been wild. Anyway, I want to conclude by saying that the Monta Skyquest is a well-rounded timepiece. It nails every pillar of a good watch. A decent size, an attractive design, great finishing, a solid movement, a comfortable bracelet, and a reasonable price. With 300 meters of water resistance, is this a dive watch or a GMT? Yes. The Skyquest can really do it all. While it has a few minor drawbacks, they aren't deal breakers. So if you're in for a sub 3K GMT, this should be definitely on your shortlist. I've said a lot of good things about the Monta Skyquest, but how does this watch really stack up against the new Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT or even the Rolex GMT Master 2? In my next video, I'll deep dive into GMTs by pitching these fantastic watches against one another. Let's see if the Tudor is worth twice and the Rolex 4 times the price of the Monta. It will be a fun comparison. If you liked this video, please help me out by hitting the thumbs. If you love the video, consider subscribing. See you in the next video very soon. Cheers.